today I'm going to be talking to you guys about closures and the mega differences between some of the more popular closures versus some of the other ones that are ordered from other like third-party sites, kind of like Alibaba, AliExpress, different things like that. This one was actually ordered from a Chinese vendor online, and this one I have here from Princess Hair Shop. So I was actually contacted by Princess Hair Shop some time ago to do a review on their hair particularly, and it was offered to me as well to review one of their closures, so I was definitely excited to do that. I've had the opportunity to definitely utilize closures on installing them on my clients, a number of clients, definitely becoming more popular just in general wearing closures, and especially among the YouTube community, to definitely, you know, have closures installed. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a guide as far as like buying closures, what to look for, and the major differences between, like I said, the Chinese vendors and a more popular brand like the Princess Hair Shop. So with the mesh, one thing that I really noticed a lot about it was that it doesn't particularly, they will specify that you can't get them in different colors, and you can ask for like a dark, light brown, medium brown, different things like that. But a lot of time from Chinese vendors, the mesh is actually all pretty much one color. And this one I also noticed with a lot of the Chinese vendors, the actual mesh is a lot thicker than what you would actually see on one of the more popular brands, for instance the Princess Hair Shop. Taking a look at this one, this is also a mesh as well, kind of made by the same material, but this one actually is a lot more, I guess, expandable, and you know, you're able to stretch it a little bit more just to get a very concise placement with it. Also, another thing that I noticed about the mesh on this one, it is a little bit thinner, but at the same time it seems a lot more durable versus the one from the Chinese vendor that is a little bit more fragile, I found, with installing. Also, this one, there's not a specified like lace color, but this one ideally comes in a light brown, which I think is a really great idea because either way, whether you're dark skin, light skin, what have you, the scalp in your head is going to be a lot lighter than your actual complexion. So I think this from Princess Hair Shop is definitely just a great place to start with as far as the color of the mesh. On this one from the Chinese vendor, this one actually comes basically with it with the knots. I believe they look like they're actually single knotted. It appears that it's single knotted, but it doesn't have any type of reinforcement here around the edges. One thing that I do like to specify if I am ordering from a Chinese hair company is that it does come with reinforced edges, which basically means that it has a stripping around it that's going to protect your hair once you're sewing it down. So if you're a little bit heavy-handed and sewing that down, you wouldn't tear it as easily. So that's one thing that if you are ordering from Chinese vendors, they will probably charge you a little bit more, roughly about $10 from my experience. They would charge a little bit more for that, but definitely if you're especially new to wearing closures, definitely a great idea to definitely have those reinforced edges. From Princess Hair Shop, this one, like I said, no questions asked, just in a closure. This one actually does have the reinforced edges, which also a lot of Chinese vendors refer to as a PU strip, and this one has it basically, but it's not in the form of, like I said, a PU strip, but what they've done, it looks like, is pretty much like double the netting here, or the mesh part, so that made it a lot more durable and strong there around the edges. So I love the fact that it comes with that from Princess Hair Shop. So a lot of people always have questions about knots and what do people talk about when they talk about single knotting, double knotting, bleaching the knots, and essentially what that is talking about is basically when the hair is looped around this actual closure piece, basically how visible is that, and that's what bleaching the knot comes in. A lot of times Chinese vendors will say that they bleach the knots, but a lot of times it requires a lot more preparation after installing it. So a lot of people may purchase closures from Chinese vendors and feel like, you know, because I asked for light lace, because I asked for bleach knots, it's going to come like that. But ideally, you're definitely going to have to do some work to it as far as bleaching the knots. And I'll definitely do a separate video on how I actually bleach my Princess Hair Shop closure as well. but a lot of these aren't bleached at all. So basically when you see it on a natural scalp, when it's growing out of your scalp, you can ideally see where it's light at, of course, the scalp area, and then you see the hair strands. But with this, it appears pretty much all black or brown toward the base. Kind of the same thing with my Princess Hair Shop. This one also does not come with bleach knots either. But definitely is a really quick fix as far as just applying some bleach on there. But I actually take a different method just to make it look as natural as possible, and that's the method that, like I said, I typically prefer to bleach the knots a little bit differently, adding some toner in it to get you some really nice natural tones. But like I said, I'll do a separate video on that one. But this one also same way, it comes just a standard like dark bottom here, and the knots are not bleached or either or, which can probably be a good thing if you are of darker complexion, because you may not need it bleached as much. Now, another thing that is important to look at as far as ordering closures is your density. The recommended density for closures can range anywhere from, I would say about, personally, I would go with anywhere between a 80 or 85 to a 90% density. Essentially what density means is how well the hair shows up or how natural it actually looks. So when you're ideally looking at my hair, because I don't have a closure, so if you're ideally looking at a head of hair, you typically don't see where from the parting it's just completely full and condensed to the point where you can't really see your scalp. So that kind of is a measurement of density. So this closure from a Chinese vendor, you can request what density you like, but a lot of times still you almost get what you pay for with Chinese vendors. So they will sell you either what's on hand, or you will have to wait a couple of weeks before they are able to get it in an exact density. This one is actually a 100% density. It was requested to get a 90% density. However, this is what they had, and this is how it looks. So it's a little bit thicker there in the hairline. So as you can see, like I said, with my parting, a natural part, you will see that it's a kind of gradual, I guess, like look, and a very natural look. On these, they come a little bit thicker, so it doesn't look as natural once you part it, but you can press it into place, which is, the better thing. So I would typically do a client's hair and press this down so that it appears a little bit more natural like that. Now, this one from Princess Hair Shop, this one actually comes in a natural density, and I love it because it starts off with a very vague and light density from the front hairline. It almost looks like, I would say, maybe like a 80 to 85% density, and then the remainder of it is about 85 to 90% density as well. So I love that, and the fact that once you install this, you can tell that it's going to be really pretty and just very natural looking. And one other main thing that's important to look at with closures is the texture of the hair. When you order from Chinese vendors, please keep in mind that you are ordering from Chinese vendors. So that essentially means that they're going to ask you what texture you want, but the hair will be processed to that texture. So if you say that you want Brazilian texture, what they're going to do is they're going to basically cut off Asian hair, and they are going to process it to be like whatever texture you're looking for. So for this one, for instance, I actually had another client install this exact same closure, and the closure came out perfect. I wish I still had pictures, but I don't have it now. But as a matter of fact, I may post some if I'm done doing an install by the time I'm done with this video. But they installed this closure, and they realized that they ordered Brazilian textured hair, but the closure came from a Chinese vendor, and the texture of this closure was a little bit different from the Brazilian because, again, it was coming from a Chinese origin or what have you, but it was processed to feel like Brazilian. So even though there were similarities, you could still tell that it was something a little bit off from it. So That's one thing as well that's a little bit different, that the texture is just a little bit different, a little bit shinier than your average Brazilian hair, if you guys can see that. And you can also see that the wave pattern, although it's, you know, kind of a good thing, you know, if you're especially applying heat to it, but it's definitely in like the exact same wave patterns you can see because it was steam processed, versus this one that is Brazilian, and you guys pretty much can tell that, you know, it is going pretty much, it looks like natural hair, not too much luster there at all. Definitely looks like a natural one. And when I do my review of it, I'll compare this hair to on the closure to the actual hair that I'm reviewing, so you guys can see that it's the exact same texture hair. Now, one other thing that I noticed as a major difference as well is that with this hair, because it is of Chinese origin, it is a lot more prone to like heat damage. So with Chinese vendor hair, it is definitely recommended to use a lot of heat protectant spray on it, because again, like with people of Chinese or Asian origin or what have you, their hair is a lot harder to straighten, and if it does straighten, it can get burned very easily. So I would definitely just be mindful and be cautious of that as well, because again, with this texture, you can definitely damage it very quickly. So I would definitely apply, like I said, heat protectant in a low setting, versus again the Brazilian that you guys know is definitely going to give you some longevity, because it's pretty much like black girl hair, okay? Now, as far as pricing info, I don't know the exact price of the Princess Hair Shop closure, but I'll post it below. But I do know ideally a closure. This one is a 14-inch. This one is a 16. I want to say that this closure, particularly with shipping and everything, roughly came to about $62. Sometimes you can do, actually, from the site that it was purchased from, you can actually get 2 of them for $100. So it's actually really good. So overall, I honestly would say that this is a good buy, but just a few things to be mindful of, and just know that you have to put some work into it afterwards. This one, like I said, I'll post the information below, but I believe for a 16-inch it was around $112, $114, don't quote me, but like I said, you get what you pay for. And this one, you will still have to do a little bit of work, minimal work, but you know the quality of what you're getting versus, you know, ordering offline and kind of having a guess. So I hope that helps you guys as far as like getting some more tips with ordering closures. I know I didn't kind of give you guys everything about closures, but I'll come at you guys with a little bit more if you have more questions. So definitely feel free to post it below. If you have any questions, even if you guys like see a site and you want me to take a look at it or let you know more about my insight or different things to do, not to do with closures, let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you guys. I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for watching. Share this with a friend and don't forget to subscribe, okay? Love you guys. See you next time. Bye.